I have been using OpenAI's API for more than a year. With thousands of properties, it can be quite complex. But once you understand how every API endpoint links to each other, programming it is a piece of cake. So, today in Bias versus Variance, get ready to add GenAI Expert to your LinkedIn.
Why? Why?
Because by the end, you will be able to build an AI capable of talking to an entire folder. Let's dive in. Step 0. Go to platform.openai to get your API keys and set it up on your system. Links in description. Sadly, OpenAI offers only Python and JavaScript SDK.
Why is it always me?
I'll be using Python, but don't worry. The concepts are transferable to any API handling programming language. This video is divided in 3 parts. Part 1. Simple text API calls. Create an OpenAI client and access its chat completions to get a simple response. For details, check out the blog at bversusv.net. Links in description. The response, as a JSON file, contains a wealth of useful metadata like tokens used, finish reason, and system fingerprint that can be used for powerful automation. The output text will always be in the list response.choices. But what if you want multiple outputs or want to introduce logical bias? The text API offers multiple parameters that can be tweaked for customized responses. For example, penalty and probability of words, number of responses, fixed seed for a consistent output, and more. And that's not it. Our AI can talk to multiple documents, search the web, run code, and a lot more. How? The answer is an army of assistants with Assistants API. Therefore, Part 2, Assistants API. Starting with the input, Assistants API ecosystem has multiple input endpoints for documents, for images, and for embeddings. But what if these inputs are huge? In that case, one or more of the inputs can be combined into a vector store. These inputs are then connected to an assistant. The assistant can be configured with various tools, file search, internet browsing, or code capabilities. Yay, assistant's ready. To give your assistants a conversational context, use the threads endpoint. Threads also allow the assistant to reference previous messages as part of the conversation. Since thread and assistants exist independently, use the run endpoint to connect each other. Finally, to create individual units of communication, you can use the messages endpoint. And that's it.
Sorry, is there more?
Nah, only if it were that easy, right? In part 3, let's quickly build an assistant that can talk to an entire folder. And of course, extra details in the blog. Starting with the input, I am adding a file to an OpenAI file endpoint, which automatically stores the data in the cloud. Next, I link the file to a vector store using the file's ID. Here, you can add up to 1,000 files. Or you can link the whole folder, as we mentioned before. And since Microsoft owns almost half of OpenAI, I hope you know which cloud your data will be used in.
Data shortages, data rationing, data black markets.
Coming to assistants, I define the basic parameters like the name, description, model, etc. Then I give it the power to do a file search with the resources it needs. You can add other powers like programming and internet browsing right here. We're almost there, guys. Now, add a thread with the prompt that needs to be answered. Link the thread and assistant via the run endpoint by passing the IDs. Lastly, spin up the messages endpoint for answers. Voila! Mr. Gen AI on the other side, you can actually do some AI now. Do check out the blog for the exact code. By the way, you can also go to OpenAI Playground to make assistants, and later use it in your code via unique IDs. That's it for today. Keep on watching Bias versus Variance for AI in depth. See you for the next one.